Like, subscribe, and activate the alarm. And also, please share. Let everyone knows about the channel. Outlaws of the Marsh, Chapter 14. Red-haired demon lies drunk in Lingwen Temple. Chao the Heavenly King acknowledges a nephew in East Bank Village. When Lei Hung entered Lingwen Temple, he saw a big fellow sleeping on the altar. The soldiers rushed forward, tied him up, and dragged him outside. It was only about the fifth watch. The sun had not yet risen. Lei Hung said, "Let's take the lout to the manor of War Chief Chow. We can get some breakfast there. Then we'll turn him over for the county magistrate for questioning." The company proceeded rapidly to the manor. The ward chief of East Bank Village was surnamed Chow. His given name was Guy. Born of well-to-do family, native to these parts for many generations, Chow had always fought injustice and helped the needy. He liked nothing better than befriending gallant men and put them in his manor whenever they came to him, no matter what circumstances. When they were ready to go, he gave them silver for traveling expenses. Extremely fond of playing with weapons, Chow was very strong. He had never married and practiced bodybuilding exercise from morning till night. Outside the east gate of Yuncheng, the county seat, were two villages which the county administered, separated by a large stream. One was called East Bank, the other West Bank. Formerly, evil spirits had haunted West Bank. They allured people into the stream in broad daylight, lying in wait beneath the waters. No one could cope with them. One day, a monk came by, and the villagers told him about it. The monk pointed to a place and instructed them to build a pagoda there of black stone. This would repress evil on the bank of the stream. The result that the spirits left the village of West Bank and moved over to East Bank. When Chao Gai learned of this, he was furious. He waded the stream, picked up the black stone pagoda, carried it across single-handed, and deposited it on the east bank. From then on, he was famed as Chao Gai, the tower-shifting heavenly king. He became the undisputed ruler of the village, and gallant men everywhere knew his name. That morning, Lei Hung and his soldiers took the big fellow to the manor and knocked on the gate. When the vassals learned who was calling, they reported to the ward chief. Chao Gai was still in bed, but hearing that Constable Lei had come, he ordered that the gate be opened immediately. The vassals complied. The soldiers suspended the big fellow from a rafter in the gatehouse. Then Lei Hung took 10 or so of their leaders to the hall and sat down. Chao Gai, who had left his bed to greet them, asked,
"What business brings you here, Constable?"
"On orders of His Honor the Magistrate, Jutong and I led 2 patrols into the countryside to look for bandits," said Lei Hung. "Now we're tired and want to rest a while, so we've come to your manor. I hope we're not disturbing you."
"Not at all,"
replied Chao Gai. He told his vassals to prepare food and drink, and first to bring some tea.
"Did you catch any thieves in our village?"
he queried. "Just now we discovered the big fellow sleeping in that Lingwen temple out front. I could see he was no gentleman. I was going to take him to the county magistrate right away. But in the first place, it's too early. In the second place, I wanted to inform you, Ward Chief, in case the magistrate asks you about it in the future, you'll be able to answer. I have the prisoner hung up in your gatehouse." Chao Gai made a mental note of this.
"Thank you for telling me, Constable,"
he replied. A short time later, his vassals brought in wine and platter of food. Chao Gai said,
"Talking out here is not very convenient. Let's sit inside."
Ordering a vassal to light a lamp, he conducted Lei Hung to the porch of the rear building. After they had both taken their places at a table, Chao Gai in the host's seat, Lei Hung in the guest's, a few vassals carried in platters of tidbits, while another poured the wine. Chao Gai ordered that the wine also be given to the soldiers. The vassals led the soldiers to a covered walk and treated them as guests, serving large platters of meat and big bowls of wine. He urged them to eat their fill. He courteously plied the constable with food and drink. Chao Gai thought to himself,
What thief could he have caught in our village? I must have a look.
He downed 6 or 7 goblets of wine with Lei Hung, then summoned one of his stewards and said,
Keep the constable company. I'm going out to relieve myself. I'll be back shortly.
While the steward drank with Lei Hung, Chao Gai got a lantern and went directly to the main gate. None of the soldiers was around. All were inside, drinking. Chao Gai asked one of his vassals, who was guarding the gate,
That robber the constable caught? Where have they got him tied?
"He's locked in the gatehouse," said the vassal. Chao Gai pushed open the door and looked. The fellow was suspended high above the floor. His body was a mass of swarthy flesh. His dangling legs were black and hairy. His feet were bare. Chao Gai shone his lantern on the man's face. It was ruddy and broad. On the side of his temple was a scarlet birthmark from which reddish brown hair sprouted.
Where are you from, young fellow?
Chao Gai asked him.
I haven't seen you in our village before.
"Your servant is a stranger from a distant district. I came to offer my services to a man, but they've arrested me as a thief. I must get justice."
Who did you want to join in this village?
"A gallant man.
His name?
He is called War Chief Chao.
Why did you want to see him?
Chao Gai is famed everywhere as the champion of righteousness. There's a rare chance of riches I'd like to tell him about."
Seek no further. I'm War Chief Chao. If you want me to save you, pretend to recognize me as your mother's brother. In a little while, when I come here to see off Constable Lei and his men, call me uncle. I will address you as nephew. Just say you were only 4 or 5 years old when you left here. That's why you didn't recognize me when you came again looking for me.
"If you can rescue me, I'll be deeply grateful," said the young man. "Please help me, champion." Carrying his lantern, Chao Gai left the gatehouse. He again barred the door, then hurried back to the building in the rear.
Forgive me for neglecting you,
He said to Lei Hung. "I'm putting you to too much trouble," the constable replied. "It's really not right." They drank several cups of wine together. Soon, light began shining in through the window. "It's brightening in the east," said Lei Hung. "Your servant must take his leave. I have to sign in at the county office."
You have your official duties, Constable. I dare not detain you. If business brings you to our humble village again, be sure to call on me.
"I certainly will pay my respects, War Chief. Please don't bother to see me off."
At least let me escort you to the manor gate.
Chao Gai and Lei Hung emerged from the building. The soldiers, who had dined well, now took up their pikes and staves and proceeded to the gatehouse. There they let down the young man they had suspended and let him out through the door, his hands tied behind his back.
He's a big fellow.
Chao Gai remarked. "That rogue is the thief we caught in Lingwan Temple," said Lei Hung. Even before he had finished speaking, the young man shouted, "Uncle, save me!" Chao Gai pretended to peer at him. Then he cried,
Why, isn't that rascal Wang the Third?
"Yes, it's me! Uncle, save me!" Everyone was astonished. "Who is he?" Lei Hung asked Chao Gai. "How does he know you, War Chief?"
He's my sister's son, Wang the Third. Why was this scamp bursting in the temple? He lived here till he was 4 or 5. Then my sister and her husband moved to the southern capital. I didn't see him for 10 years. He came again when he was about 15, accompanying a merchant from the city on a trip to buy dates. That was the last I saw him. I've heard many people say this scoundrel is no good. What's he doing here? I'd never have recognized him if it wasn't for that scarlet birthmark on the side of his temple. Little Third,
He shouted at the young man.
why didn't you come to me directly? Why did you go into the village and steal?
"But uncle, I didn't steal anything," the young fellow protested.
If you're not a thief, why have they brought you here?
Chao Gai demanded. Snatching a staff from one of the soldiers, he belabored the young man about the head.
No, hold on,
Don't beat him, Lei Hung and the others urged. "Let's see what he has to say." "Uncle, don't be angry," said the young fellow. "Let me speak. Since the last time I came at the age of 15, 10 years have gone by. Isn't that so?"
Last night on the road, I had 1 cup of wine too many. I didn't dare call on you drunk, so I went to the temple to sleep it off first. How did I know they were going to nab me without a word? I'm not a thief.
Chow Gai again rushed at him with the staff.
Animal! He cried. Instead of coming to me directly, you guzzled yourself full of yellow wine on the road. Couldn't you get all you want in my home? You've disgraced me. Calm yourself, War Chief. Your nephew isn't a thief.
Lei Hong said soothingly.
I've got suspicious, finding a big fellow like him asleep in the temple. After all, I've never seen him before, so I arrested him and brought him here. I would never have done it had I known he was your nephew.
Lei Hong ordered his soldiers to untie the young man and turn him over to the war chief. They at once did so.
Please don't take it amiss.
The constable pleaded.
Had I known he was your nephew, this wouldn't have happened. I hope you're not offended. We must go back now.
Just a moment, constable, said Chow Gai. Please come into my small manor. I have something to say. Lei Hong turned with the war chief to the hall. Chow Gai handed him 10 ounces of silver. Just a paltry gift, constable. Chow Gai said, Please, don't scorn it for being too small.
But you shouldn't be doing this.
If you don't accept it, I'll know you're displeased with me.
Since you're so generous, War Chief, I can't refuse. Someday, I'll show my gratitude.
Chow Gai instructed the young man to thank Lei Hong. Then he distributed pieces of silver among the soldiers and saw the company to the manor gate. Lei Hong bade the war chief farewell and departed with his men. Chow Gai took the young man to the rear building and gave him clothes and a hat. He asked his name and place of origin.
Your servant's family name is Liu. My given name is Tong. My ancestral home is in East Luzhou Prefecture. Because of this scarlet birthmark on the side of my temple, since childhood I've been known as Red-Haired Demon. I've made this trip especially to inform you of a rare chance for riches. War Chief, last night I fell asleep, drunk, in the temple, and those oafs nabbed me and tied me up. Fortunately, today I've met you at last. Please be seated, brother, and accept my 4 kowtows.
When the young man had completed his obeisances, Chow Gai said, You said you have a rare chance to tell me about. What is it?
Ever since childhood, your servant has drifted about. I've been to many places, and made friends with many gallant men. Though I've often heard them speak of you, brother, I'd never thought I'd have occasion to seek you out. I've also met men from east of the mountain and north of the river who've served under you, brother. That's why I'm willing to tell you this. If there are no outsiders around, I'd like to put the whole thing before you, frankly.
You can speak freely. Only my most trusted men are here.
It's said that Governor Liang of Daming, the northern capital, has bought jewels and art objects worth 100,000 strings of cash to send it to his father-in-law Tsai, the premier in the eastern capital, as birthday gifts. Last year, he also sent birthday gifts of the same value, but they were seized by unknown persons along the way. To this day, the robbers haven't been caught. This year, Governor Liang has also bought another 100,000 strings worth of jewels and art objects. The route by which they'll be sent has already been chosen. They must be delivered before Tsai's birthday on the 15th of the 6th lunar month. In my humble opinion, these things were purchased with unclaimed money. There will be nothing wrong in taking them. We've only to work out a plan for capturing them along the way. Heaven knows it will be no crime. I've often heard that you're a real man, brother, and that you have a remarkable skill with weapons. Although I'm not very talented, I know little about them myself. Not only can I deal with 4 or 5 men at a time, but if I had my lance, I wouldn't be afraid even if 2,000 men on horseback came at me together. If you don't despise me, brother, I'm more willing to lend you a hand. What do you think of the idea?
Excellent! We must plan carefully. But you've just come,
and you've been rather battered about. Why not rest a while in the guest house? Let me give the matter some thought. We'll talk about it later.
Chao Gai ordered the vassal to lead Liu Tang to the guest house. The vassal did so, then went off.
I certainly was having a hard time.
Liu Tang thought to himself.
It's lucky Chao Gai was able to get me out of that scrape. That lout Lei Hung grabbed me for a thief and suspended me all night from a rafter. The villain can't have traveled very far. Why not take a weapon and go after him? I can knock those rascals down, bring Chao Gai back his silver, and work off some of my anger at the same time. A great idea.
Liu Tang came out of the house, snatched a halberd from the rack, and left the manor. As he strode south, the sky was already light. Soon he could see the constable and his soldiers marching slowly ahead. Hurrying after them, Liu Tang cried,
Constable, stand where you are!
Startled, Lei Hung turned to see Liu Tang advancing towards him rapidly, halberd in hand. Lei hastily took a halberd from one of his soldiers.
What do you want, varlet?
He shouted.
If you know what's good for you, you'll give me those 10 ounces of silver. Then maybe I'll forgive you. Your uncle presented me with that money. What is it for you? If it weren't for his sake, I'd end your knavish life. What gall to demand my silver? I'm no thief, but you suspended me from a rafter all night and swindled my uncle out of 10 ounces of silver to boot. Return it to me if you have any sense, and I'll let you off. If you don't, I'll spill your blood on the spot.
Furious, Lei Hung pointed his finger at Liu Tang and swore.
Worthless lying thief! You're a disgrace to your family! Impertinent dog! You're the extortioner of people! You dare to curse me! You're a bandit to the marrow of your bones! You're sure to implicate Chao Gai! You're a bandit! Heart and liver! Don't think you can pull those sort of things on me! I'm going to settle with you once and for all!
Brandishing his halberd, the enraged Liu Tang charged towards Lei Hung. The constable raised his own halberd with a laugh and strode forward to meet him. They clashed in the middle of the road and fought over 50 rounds, with neither vanquished the other. When the soldiers saw that Lei Hung couldn't defeat Liu Tang, they started closing in on the young man. But just then, a fence gate of a nearby house opened, and a man holding a length of chain in his hand emerged, crying,
You two bold men there! Desist! I've been watching for a long time! Rest a moment! I've something to say!
He swung the chain between the contestants. Both lowered their halberds, jumped out of the combat circle, and waited. The man had the appearance of a scholar. He wore a cylindrical-shaped hat that came down almost to his eyebrows, and a white flaxen gown with a black border that was gathered in the waist by a tea-colored sash. His feet were clad in white socks and silk shoes. His handsome and refined face was adorned with a long beard. This was Wu Yong, the wizard. He was also known as the Pedant. His Taoist appellation was Master Increasing Light. Since the earliest time, his family had resided in this neighborhood. Chain in hand, Wu Yong pointed at Liu Tang and said,
Stay where you are, young man. Why are you fighting with the constable? I'll tell you why, teacher,
said Lei Hung.
Last night, we caught this rogue sleeping naked in Lingwan Temple and brought him to War Chief Chao's manor. When we discovered he was War Chief's nephew, we released him for his uncle's sake. The War Chief invited us for some wine and presented me with a gift. Unknown to his uncle, this scoundrel chased after us and demanded that I return the gift to him. How do you like that for a nerve?
I've known Chao Gai ever since we were children.
Wu Yong thought to himself,
He often discussed his private affairs with me, and I'm familiar with all his relatives. But I never heard of his nephew. Besides, he's the wrong age. There's something fishy here. I've got to stop the fight first, then I can question him.
Don't be so stubborn, big fellow.
He said to the young man,
Your uncle and I are close friends. I know that he's in good terms with this constable. If you take back the little gift he's given to him, it will make your uncle look bad. Have some respect for me. I'll talk this over with your uncle later.
Scholar, you don't know the facts,
said Lu Tong.
My uncle didn't give it willingly. The rogue squeezed the silver out of him. If he doesn't return it to me, I swear I'm not going back. I'll return it only if the war chief himself asks for it,
said Lei Hong.
I won't give it to you. You slandered me and said I was a thief. You extorted my uncle's silver. How dare you refuse to return it? It's not your silver. I won't return it. I won't. I won't. You'll have to ask the halberd in my hand whether you'll return it or not.
You two have already fought for a long time without any of you winning,
said Wu Yong.
How much longer do you intend to fight?
If he doesn't return that silver, I'll fight him until only one of us is left alive,
cried Lu Tong.
If I were afraid of you, I could have had one of my soldiers help me.
Lei Hong shouted angrily.
But I'm too much of a man for that. I'm going to knock you head over heels all by myself.
Lu Tong thumped his chest furiously.
Let's see you do it!
He came at him. The constable also advanced, brandishing his arms and stomping his feet. Both men were spoiling to resume the fight. Wu Yong thrust himself between them, but his admonitions were in vain. Lu Tong waved his halberd, just waiting for a chance to attack. Lei Hong, cursing the young fellow for 10,000 kinds of a thief, also held his halberd at the ready. It was then the soldiers exclaimed, Here comes the war chief! Lu Tong turned and looked. He saw Chao Gai, his unfastened tunic draped over his shoulders, running down the road.
Behave yourself, you young whelp!
Shouted Chao Gai. Wu Yong laughed.
Thank heaven the war chief has come. He's the only one who can stop them.
Chao Gai rushed up, panting.
Why are you two fighting?
Your nephew chased after me, halberd in hand, and demanded my silver,
replied Lei Hong.
I said I won't give it to you. I'll return it only to the war chief himself. This has nothing to do with you. He fought me 50 rounds. Then this teacher came and stopped us. That young animal?
Said Chao Gai.
I didn't know anything about it. For my sake, constable, please continue on your way. I'll call you another day and make my apologies. I knew the young rascal was talking rot,
said Lei Hong.
I didn't take him seriously. I'm sorry you've had to come all this distance.
He bade the war chief farewell and departed. We'll say no more of him. Then Wu Yong confided to Chao Gai,
It's lucky you arrived when you did, or something serious might have happened. That nephew of yours is remarkable, a splendid fighter. I was watching from inside the fence. The famed halberd artist Lei Hong couldn't touch him. He was on the defensive all the time. If they had gone another few rounds, he surely would have lost his life. That's why I hurried out to stop them. Where is your nephew from? I've never seen him at your manor.
I was just about to send a messenger to invite you over to my humble home for a talk when I noticed that Lu Tong was gone and the halberd missing from the rack, said Chao Gai. A little cowherd told me he had seen a big fellow carrying a halberd running south. I hastily followed. Fortunately, you had already stopped the fight. Please, come to my humble manor. There's a matter on which I need your advice. Wu Yong first returned to his quarters and hung up the chain in his study. He said to his landlord,
When my students come, say that their teacher is busy today. Tell them they can take the day off.
He closed his door and locked it, then proceeded with Chao Gai and Lu Tong to the war chief's manor. Chao Gai led them directly to an inner room in the rear building, where they took appropriate seats as host and guests.
War chief, who is this person?
Wu Yong asked.
A bold fellow from the fraternity of gallant men, Lu Tong, from a family in East Luzhou Prefecture. He came especially to inform me of rare chance for riches. Last night he fell asleep, drunk, in the Lingguan temple, and Lei Hong nabbed him and brought him here. I pretended he was my nephew and was able to save him. He told me Governor Liang of Daming, the northern capital, has bought jewels and art objects worth 100,000 strings of cash to send it to his father-in-law Tsai, the premier in the eastern capital, as birthday gifts. They will soon passing this way. Since they were purchased with unclaimed money, there will be nothing wrong in taking them. His proposal happens to coincide with a dream I had last night. I dreamed the 7 stars of the Big Dipper had settled on the ridge of my roof. Another small star just above the handle turned into a streak of light. I thought to myself, to have stars shining right on your own house, that must be a suspicious sign. I intended to invite you over this morning, teacher, and ask you what should I do.
Wu Yong smiled.
I thought there was something odd about the sudden appearance of Brother Lu, and was able to guess 7 or 8/10 of what was up. His proposal was excellent, but there's only one thing. With too many people involved, we can't succeed. With too few, we're bound to fail. Though you have many vassals here, not one of them is suitable. But can just the 3 of us accomplish our aim? Even though you, War Chief, and you, Brother Lu, are remarkable people, the answer is no. What we need is 7 or 8 gallant men. More than that would be no use.
Could that be the meaning of the number of the stars in my dream?
Asked Chao Gai.
Brother's dream was no ordinary one,
Replied Wu Yong.
Can it be that north of here there are people who can help us?
Frowning, he pondered for several moments, then he understood.
There are! There are!
He exclaimed.
If you know some courageous men you can trust, teacher,
Said Chao Gai.
invite them to join us and put this thing through.
Wu Yong placed 2 fingers together and calmly spoke a few words. And as a result, in East Bank, righteous men became bold robbers. In Stone Tablet Village, fishing boats became vessels of war. Truly, their commander could speak of all things in heaven and on earth, and turn up the rivers and roil the seas. What men did Wu Yong the Wizard recommended? Read our next chapter if you would know.